Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. My name is Rob Finney. I'm CMO at XTM, and I'm delighted to welcome Daniel Garcia from Doist, who joins me today. Daniel will be sharing a story on how Doist built a practical AI-first localization engine, something I know many of you will also be interested in learning more about and maybe embarking on that journey yourself. So hopefully you get a lot of value from today's session. I will cover off a few housekeeping items before I hand over to Daniel. First and foremost, it's a live webinar with live Q&A at the end. So if you take a little look up to the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a little box with a question mark in it. If you click on that, you're able to submit questions throughout the presentation or at the Q&A section. If you want to familiarize yourself with that, feel free to drop in where you're dialing in from today, just so you can kind of get used to the functionality. We'll also be recording this webinar, so the recording will be sent to all of you post-event and anybody else who's registered, and you can circulate it with your colleagues if they're interested in it. And we'll also have an opportunity, as I mentioned, many of you may be struggling with some of these transitions yourselves or looking to embark on these journeys. We'll also have a poll towards the end of the webinar where if you do want to speak to an XTM expert about any topics you saw today, or looking for any help on how you can optimize your localization program, there'll be an opportunity to do that at the end of the webinar. So watch out for that poll if you do want to speak to somebody about any of the topics in the webinar. So with that, Daniel, I'm going to hand over to you, and then I'll rejoin you for Q&A at the end. So over to you, Daniel, and everybody enjoy the show.
Thanks, Robert, and thanks everyone for joining today. I'm Daniel Garcia. I'm growth marketer at Doist. We are the company behind Doist, the popular productivity app. Also, we have another product called Doist, which is a team communication app. A little bit about myself. I've spent more than 11 years scaling global markets. Well, my approach is simple: combine rigorous market data with a deep respect for language and culture. And that's how I believe companies can find the real opportunities and turn internationalization into actual growth, not just translated strings. Actual growth to improve acquisition, retention, and monetization in the international part. So you see, is the full stack. And as growth marketer at Doist, I mainly lead the internationalization efforts, and one of my duties in the internationalization efforts is the localization manager. The real title, job title, that's something I don't like too much, is international marketer or something like that. But yeah, I'm the localization manager. And to further understand my profile, before marketing, I worked in journalism for 16 years. Part of those years combined with my work in marketing. I used to be a good researcher. I also wrote sharp feature pieces. And I mention this because that mix of analytical and creative thinking it still shapes how I work today. So it seems it's not related to this webinar, but you will understand in some of the parts of this webinar that this is relevant. A little bit about Doist. Doist is a global pioneer of distributed work, building simple yet powerful productivity tools. We have the vision of being the end-to-end productivity platform. We're a profitable company, bootstrap, that has never taken venture capital. Doist also has competed successfully against tech giants in almost nearly 2 decades in the tech industry. So yeah, I mean, that's a real milestone. We are a fully remote team with approximately 100 employees across more than 25 countries. And as you know, we have created the award-winning productivity app Doist, which is used by more than 50 million people. So let's start with the real content. Well, most of the companies, I think that localization is a trade-off: human quality or AI speed. At Doist, I think we need both. We believe in both, not because it was trendy, and not because we wanted to experiment, obviously in the case of AI, I'm saying, but because well, we have a bottleneck for shipping across 19 languages. And I say 19 because I'm including English, which is our original source. We localize in 18 languages. Today, 60% of our new acquisitions are from non-English speaking markets. 50% of our active users are non-English speakers, and between 40 and 45 of our revenue comes from non-English speaking markets. I say between 40 and 45 because this depends on the Doist plan. There are two plans in Doist. One is Pro and the other one is business. They have a slightly different revenue. So for us, localization doesn't mean support work for us. For us, it's a growth infrastructure, but it wasn't always like this. So let's go back to 2017. Next slide, Robert, please. Thank you. Well, this is our starting point. That was almost 9 years ago. That's quite all right. So in 2017, localization execution was very weak, in my opinion. We didn't have real workflows and processes. Particularly, there was totally a lack of quality assurance. There was no project management. There was no team management of the freelance translators. There was no strategy, no prioritization, no funnel thinking. So at that time, I was doing a lot of things at the time. We were even a smaller company, but one of my duties at that time was a Spanish translator. So I'm coming actually from the field. Obviously, as I said, I have this background in journalism. I had this background in linguistics too. So at that time, I took the role of this localization efforts of localization manager. So I believe that we needed to rebuild localization from the ground up, with particularly with a translator's mindset, not a marketed checklist at that time. So obviously, my background in linguistics and journalism allowed me to fulfill that role in the company. I made 180 degrees change in the localization program. I thought I needed to go to the basics and lead the localization with the mindset I said, with a mindset of a translator. At that time, my vision was very simple. I think, and I still think the same way, but at that time, I thought users should never feel they are reading a translation. It should feel originally crafted in their language. And I think that philosophy has shaped everything onwards until today and still nowadays. At that time, we had a limited budget. Remember, we're coming from a bootstrap, independent company. So, I mean, we needed to be very efficient with investments. So that's all the small companies, we need to think about almost every dollar. So what did we do at that time? We tired the markets. We analyze acquisition, activation, and revenue data, 3 parts of the funnel, and then we prioritize based on the funnel stage impact. In 3 years until 2020, we moved from 30% acquisition in non-English speaking markets to approximately 40%. So at that time, in 3 years, localization stopped being a cost center and it became a growth lever. Next slide, please. Okay, the pre-engine time. Before AI, until last year, 2024, we had a very strong LQA framework. We still have it, but that's what we built at that time. Extreme context documentation, clear localization values with our freelance translators. And those values, those localization values, are aligned to our brand values. Glossary management, translation memory discipline, and we also started something that I feel it was very important to focus to protect the focus of the translators, and it's part of the ethos of Doist, which is async communication and the schedule in advance. So I basically started, and also I'm trying to refer to my translator mindset at that time. I realized that we needed to structure and assign the work to the translators in advance, minimizing last minute and one day to the next one requests, but protecting the translator focus, thinking that they have our clients, and this way they will know they knew the work in advance. That was very important because that ultimately gives quality to the localization. I think all of these are explaining the discipline first, technical assets, and the ethos This is critical because AI is starting to work today because it existed, all these things existed first. Without this foundation, I think AI will have degraded the quality. So this allows us basically to continue growing internationally with a localization. Basically, localization for us is our main internationalization tactic. Now we are doing more tactics, but for a long time it was our main localization tactic. So we need to be very efficient to that. To give you an example about a benchmark about the high performance in internationalization, I read some benchmark that the global leaders have more than 50% of their revenue coming from international markets. For us, it's 40-45%. So let's say we are like high performers between 30 and 50%. So that's really a milestone for a small company like us. So I think, of course, it's important to follow this. Otherwise, you're going to see that the AI engine that we have right now, it wouldn't work in right now. Next slide, please, Robert. And here we are, the bottleneck problem that we found by 2024, 2025. 51% of the translation volume was support content. 30% of the translation workload or localization workload, translation and review, was marketing, and 50% was UI content, the product UI content. So our analysis showed that a significant share of translator effort was concentrated on structured informational content, which prompted us to rethink where human expertise delivers the greatest impact. At the same time, it was 2024 to 2025, the AI was in the landscape, not in the landscape, I mean, was in the operations of everyone. Important to understand that is also for the context that we are a software as a service product. We are in the SaaS industry. So everything was becoming a race. Product shipping was accelerating. So we needed to think that, yeah, we need to take some action because we're having a bottleneck. Localization in this sense became a bottleneck. Localization was one of, as I said, was one of our main internationalization tactics. So yeah, I mean, we need to fix it. I mean, why does increasing internationalization revenue matter for our business growth? One, we have proven that acquisition data proves that we have a great opportunity there. Two, diversifying our revenue would contribute and will contribute to the company's financial health. And of course, if there are economic crises, this is going to help too. And it's also part of our identity. We are an international, worldwide company with employees around the world. So it makes sense to continue growing internationally in spite of AI. We needed to adopt AI in a way. Yeah, so we needed to evolve. The mental unlock to clear up this bottleneck is like we stop asking, how do we translate everything well? And we started asking, how does human craft actually drive growth? And that's how we created the 70-30 model. That's the way it was born. We have an AI-first model with human LQA, which is around 70% of the content types. To give you an example, AI-first and human LQA is product UI, is the help center, all the support content, educational content, subtitles, video subtitles. Also, we have the lifecycle image assigned as AI-first translator. Probably the only marketing content as you're going to see, but I think the lifecycle email is performing very well with Transifex AI. And the other workflow we have in localization is human-led plus human LQA, which is about 30% of our content types. That the type of content that is assigned for human-led and human LQA, landing pages, app store product page, or app store listings, the way you want to call it, campaigns, email campaigns, paid campaigns, app store campaigns, resources such as onboarding projects, templates, setups. So as you can see, every surface that defines our brand voice externally remains human-led. And it looks like the logic is content type, but it is not. The logic for us is funnel stage. It's like most of the content and activation, most of the acquisition and activation content is human-led plus human LQA. and most of the retention content is AI first plus human LQA. Same languages, same product, is a different investment logic. Next slide, please. Well, what AI first actually means for us. For us, it's not automation without control. We obviously have set in this project, in this content types, Transifex AI fill-up, which translates everything 100% the strings before, well, I mean, after being pushed. Then we have the human review in context, which is the second and the third phase in most of the content types. And the third thing is we have a very strong LQA toolkit, a very strong localization quality assurance toolkit. What do I mean with the toolkit? The toolkit is like translators follow the company brand and copy guidelines. Translators maintain the translation memory, which is one of the core Transifex features. Translators optimize the glossary, another core Transifex feature. They also work with an AI tool besides Transifex AI. It's a tool, AI assistant, which is paid by the company, the subscription. We also have set a workflow to provide feedback, continuous feedback to the Transifex AI team, which one, I mean, we are very close working with them to improve it. So translators get the most of the Transifex key, which is something is in the Transifex playbook. So this way, mandatory in all the content types in spite of the AI. Nothing is going live before having an human LQA process. If it's going live, it's going to sort probably a small database like our beta testers. But you know, also that includes our brand critical surface. I mean, where human craft for us, as you can see, is non-negotiable. Translators at this way, in my opinion, they have become in these days nowadays quality engineers, glossary maintainers, AI curators, and I think ultimately they are cool guardians. But let's see right now also the not the bad part, but the limitations of AI nowadays. Even we are seeing that the models are improving a lot exponentially, which is very encouraging. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean, I'm coming from a translator background, so I have to acknowledge that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a linguistic too, so I believe that sometimes when I translate something in an AI tool into Spanish, which is my native language, or I have skills in French and Italian, and also from the feedback I received from other languages, from the freelance translators, I recognize that AI sometimes flattens the language, sometimes lacks of nuance. It homogenizes the voice. It obviously it performs poorly in low resources languages. I mean, it's not the same how it performs in Spanish or French and than how it's performing in, I don't know, in Turkish or in Norwegian, something like that. And also what I'm observing, you know, as a team manager or project manager, it risks to burn out the translators. That's why I believe. That's why at Doist we believe that AI must be managed. It must not be adopted blindly. To give you an example, things like SEO, AEO content, it is dangerous. Everything related to emotional marketing copy, it is dangerous to only use AI or even starting AI from the scratch. It is dangerous for brand voice, and I think it's also dangerous for cultural duo. However, industries, and particularly go to Transifex and other AI tools, it's performing very well with product UI content, instructional content, educational copies. I think it grabs very well the context. And this way, AI is freeing up time in this area, it's automatic, and it's letting us focus on content types. So it's true that this performance that I'm outlining here depends of a lot of factors that you have to set. To give you an example how we work, we have content type goals. We have number one, handcrafted and world class. Number two, we have polish and solid goal, and number three, we have good enough informational goal. Then we have priority per task, which also it depends on the content type. One, tasks are completely the same. The data should be assigned. Priority two, you have 2 days to complete the task. Priority three, you have 6 days to complete the task. Also, it depends also a lot of factor, which is important, which is the localization bet, the language. It depends on the final stage for acquisition, activation, retention, monetization, and a lot of the industry. I'm talking that we are a software as a service, but I don't think this setup will work for medical localization or legal localization, which they have to be probably more precise, more or maybe creative of advertising, where you need to be a little bit more human. For us, this setup works very well. I mean, it's because the characteristics, the way we are a software as a service company. We need to see the product continuously. We want to acquire and activate the right type of user. We are a small bootstrap company with not the same resources that other companies. We have a team of freelance translators which are not working full time for us. They have more clients. So obviously this setup that I've been explaining, taking as a grain of salt, this setup maybe doesn't work for the company, but I believe the framework here today is the right one at these times. So let's jump to the conclusions, because we are minute 20 approximately. Well, we have a strong brand. I mean, this is historical. Doist has a very good brand. We feel very proud about that. We don't want to take the risk to become another software as a service company with marketing, AI translation. But that doesn't mean we don't adopt AI in the marketing translation. I think AI will probably evolve for marketing content. But something that AI doesn't have, and I don't think it will have, is critical thinking, the human critical. And this is important, because I think the critical thinking can give to the brand authenticity, humanness. That's what we want to transmit with the brand into Doist. So basically, what we're saying here is foundation effect, what we said before, plus a scale and trust balance is the setup. I mean, it's not proper. Go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, as I say, foundation effect plus a scale and trust balance. AI did not fix our localization. I mean, actually, we didn't have anything to fix. It was working very well. But our localization maturity from 2017 to 2024 is allowing AI to work. I truly believe that if you don't have context discipline, LQA structure, very clear and also extensive, and also very disciplined, clear values. I'm going to say clear values is in marketing values, but also values that you have to transfer to the localization team. And here's the part I feel interesting. The funnel prioritization is what makes our system scale. I don't think if you don't have these foundations, I think AI will amplify your weaknesses. If you do have the foundations, I think a growth. So, I mean, as I said in the title of the webinar is AI is a scale tool. I mean, it doesn't have to be a hype. It's a scale tool. Brand for us is a trust asset. So we automate a scale so we can protect the trust we have built through, and we still want to have in the next years. What's next for Doist? We are almost in the last slide. This is the last slide. What's next for Doist? Well, the Transifex AI performance is improving across the product UI. We have found, I think we have reached a milestone where the product UI is already fully automatized with the safety of human. Support content may follow in this milestone. For us, support is basically the help center content. And I can explain here specifically how Transifex AI has performed. Period of investigating translations in this content type, we were in position to craft very effective style guides, which is actually efficient, to be honest. I mean, since we have improved the style guides, things have improved very well. Essentially, we are fine-tuning the responses of AI to the tone, to the voice, to the language, and to the specifics of the different source content. So this has led to a 20% increase of production-ready AI translations that the reviewers, the translators, do not edit at all. But also in the pool of non-production ready translators, we witnessed an uplift of 50% in the content that is nearly perfect according to our quality index. So this has led to a simpler and faster edit. To put this in numbers, during the last month, I just pulled the numbers yesterday, about 3,800 AI translations containing more than 33,000 words were production ready. So this corresponds to the 46% of the content that is AI first translated by Transifex in our projects. So perhaps equally important is that we have established a process for continuously improving this quality. I mean, we track the performance on a weekly basis, and we can easily identify which languages projects need more fine-tuning than others. And this way, we can continue improving our style guides. So as I say in one of the previous slides, the result is that this is freeing resources for us. We have more time for marketing. We have more time for brand, we have more time for SEO, AEO, and in general, we have more time for acquisition and activation, which for us are a key part of our product experience. We have a strong to become another SaaS company with marketing AI translation. Basically, we want to preserve that authenticity, that humanness, and we want to transmit the brand. And I think we can do it with the AI first translation that Transifex is providing. So, setup. I hope you like it. I'm open to questions. Thank you very much for your. It took me a little bit less than expected. Yeah, maybe 5 minutes, Robert. But I'm open to question to treat questions from the people directly right now.
Fantastic, Daniel. Thank you so much. I think that was a super insightful and practical presentation. I can see a lot of applause and reaction from our audience there coming in. I do quickly want to launch the poll. Obviously, many of you are either on this journey or embarking on this journey. If you'd like to speak to an XTM expert, raise your hand, just answer the poll, and we'll get in touch with you with more information. Or maybe you'd like to learn a little bit more about some of the tooling behind how Daniel and his team are generating these results. So if you do want to if you do want us to reach out, just answer the poll yes, and we'll be in touch. Moving on to Q&A. So let's take a quick look at the Q&A. What have we got? So we do have a question about what would happen if a company tried to copy your AI first model without your previous localization foundations. What do you think would happen?
Well, I think, as I said before, I think this foundation is really important because why I think the AI is going to be very weak. I mean, if you start, I mean, to give you, I'm thinking about starting AI from the scratch without any previous foundation. The translation memory is going to be built incorrectly. The glossary is going to be built incorrectly. I mean, it is probably we have built in 7 years or 8, 9 years. Maybe this person is asking because probably needs to implement this not as soon as possible, but probably in a short period of time. Obviously, AI can help in building the foundation, but starting from the scratch with AI without any human review, I think is wrong. I think it's important first to build the workflows, the processes, the protocols, create the values. I mean, that's all basically building the house from the floor. Otherwise, I feel, in my honest opinion, they will be building the house from the roof. It is true that probably, in case that person has the request to build the localization program from the scratch, wants to start building with AI, that's totally valid. Obviously, give some time to build foundations, at least starting small, and with that small house or a small floor, start building the walls and then the roof. But starting from the scratch only with AI, not much setup, but it's not have to be over setup. It's just basic foundations. I think it's, yeah, in my opinion, honest opinion, starting with the roof.
Thank you. And another question: did translators resist this change, and how did you manage that transition?
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. I mean, yeah, they did. I mean, I'm a translator myself. I said before, and I understand why. I mean, I have the translator and linguistic background. Many experienced linguistics are really concerned about being reduced to post editors. I think the key difference for us is that first we have to protect the marketing. So they are still creators, and not because we want to protect them. We like to protect them and we protect them, but also we like to have the marketing that way. I think the key difference is that we didn't refine them as a cheaper translators. I think we have refined them, their role as I said before, quality engineers, AI curators, cultural guardians. I mean, whatever you want to call it. I don't think there's right now of the new translator of nowadays. Their responsibilities have expanded as they had it before, but now it's more important. AI feedback loops, something that happened before. Context management. In some content types, as I said before, but I think it didn't remove the expertise. I mean, Robert, that shift always requires an honest conversation. We had this conversation with the translators. We were with them. We clear about. We have very clear what's new about the new role. Obviously, it wasn't frictionless. There was friction. I mean, it takes like from one day to other one, you transfer your entire team from creators to AI curators. But I mean, this transformation was intentional, and we believe that's something that we had to do as a company.
Got it. And we have another question concerning your AI. Are you using customized LLM or an NMT?
Can you repeat, please?
Concerning your AI, are you using a customized LLM or an NMT?
No, customized LLM. Yeah.
Okay. Bear with me. I just need to pull up another question. How do you ensure your brand voice doesn't get diluted when using AI?
Protecting the parts that are actually where the voice is more important, which is the marketing content. I mean, the marketing content, with very few exceptions, maybe one or two content types, is still human-led. We haven't changed that. We have introduced AI assistants, which I think is useful only for writing tips or, sometimes for unlock busy days or overwhelming days. But I think obviously most of our brand is reflected in our acquisition and activation content, and our acquisition and activation content is the marketing content. AI first is implemented in most in retention content. AI first with LQA, which is the product UI and the help center. To the date, and as I said, the product UI is fully automated, and we haven't seen like great changes or devaluation of the quality in the product UI. We implemented AI first content. We run evaluations. We check with translators. I haven't seen to the point any worse quality there, and I think probably because the improving and all the models are improving, probably it will be better in the future. So I don't see a way to step down in this AI first content, because as I said, it's already automated, but also I don't think the brand is that important in those parts of the funnel stage.
Perfect.
My opinion, honest opinion.
Sure. Another question, Daniel, a lot of people worry that AI first localization just means cutting costs and lowering standards. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's something I mentioned before, when the translators, with the translator resistant. Yeah, I mean, for us, it meant a little bit of less workload. It was not the same one because content types were AI first translation. For us, it was a natural evolution. AI is here to stay. I know all of us right now, there are some point of the day that we are very overwhelmed by AI. Disconnect a little bit, AI here, AI there. But yeah, I think there's a moment that, I mean, probably it's a privilege to talk as a localization manager and also growth marketer, because I'm not translator anymore. I still manage some Spanish translations at Doist, because I like to be, working side by side with the translators and understand what they daily work. So I still take care of some Spanish translators from time to time. I don't want to be that superior or upper management that doesn't understand what is happening below me in the lower management. But talking from my privilege, the other localization manager obviously is not affected. Talking from the linguistic and translator point of view, probably they can see the work reduced for some clients, but I do believe there's an opportunity. And the opportunity here is becoming a different translator with different skills. And that's something I mentioned before: quality engineers, AI curators. I think there's an opportunity there for them to pivot to. I know it's easy to say, because it has a lot of disruption. AI has created a lot of disruption in this role. But I think there's an opportunity there for those who want to pivot along the technology evolution, and for those who want to preserve the human translation and they still want to defend, that everything has to be human. And I mean, I fully respect those principles. And I like those principles. So I understand that they have to fight for them. It's totally understandable. Yep.
Thank you. Another question, which AI model are you using, OpenAI or Claude?
Well, I mean, first we're using Transifex AI, which is using different models, as far as I know, in the backend. If you talk about what personally use for writing or translation, I have to use AI as an assistant translator. I use more ChatGPT for Spanish. Those translations, but in general, I have adapted ChatGPT to create a translation, or even my written English. Sometimes, some days I'm a little bit tired, particularly Friday, to write a long paragraph, both in English and in Spanish. So I need a little bit of help. It's not like I'm removing my creativity or my critical thinking. It's more administrative work that I don't want to handle at that moment of the day, or at that moment of the week. Because if I really want to write something genuine to my colleagues, I write it not with my hand, but with my keyboard. This is something very administrative, and I'm very, it's ChatGPT, the one I have my prompt very bolded. But I know, just to one more note, I know, and our translators use different AI tools as AI assistants or AI first. I mean, obviously, Transifex AI is our main AI first translation tool. We paid, as I say, the AI tools for our translators. Some of them, they prefer ChatGPT. It depends on the language here. I mean, some of them, they feel ChatGPT is better, others prefer Claude, and others prefer Gemini. So yeah, it depends on the language in this case. I know today the Norwegian translator asked me because we just hired someone, asked me for ChatGPT access. I use this. You a few examples.
Thanks, Daniel. And Here's another question just come in. I think we'll make it our last one. How do you emphasize quality and risk mitigation to prospects or clients who are skeptical of AI-driven translation but are tempted by the cost saving?
Well, LQA, I mean, it's all in LQA. It's all the localization quality assurance. You create the process in the protocols after AI first translation, I think, and actually you create the right cadence, you know, with, as I say, a schedule in advance, clear documentation, everything very, very documented, clear instructions, you know, you can automatize that part and you get rid of all the administrative tasks, and I can be the point of reference of the translator. I think I understood well the question, but let me know if I'm wrong. And I can take care of the real human questions from the translators rather than spending a lot of time on administrative things. Everything documented, workflows, protocols, a strong LQA, strong habits for the translators, like the LQA toolkit that I mentioned before, maintain glossary, maintain translation memory, be rigorous about those things. If they are automated in your team, then you guarantee a good LQA, and you have even more time, free up time to spend human connection with the localization team.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's about all we've got time for today. Daniel, thank you so much for preparing that presentation. And to our audience, thank you very much for attending. I really appreciate your time and effort, and hopefully you enjoyed the content. So see you again next time. And Daniel, thanks once again. Goodbye.
Thanks to you. Bye.